The time has finally come. It's time then for the qualifiers for the VALVIK Marble League in Season 3. Hello everybody and welcome back then. My name as always is Frankie and we've got for you today the qualifiers. 24 teams go in and only 12 can qualify and join the auto qualified 4. We've got 3 groups each of 8 teams, out of which only the first 4 can qualify. And of course we should mention then that the Violet Vermin, the champions, the winners of the minor league last season, will get an advantage of points as we get into event 1, water slide sprint with the Coastline Crescents, Violet Vermin, Sushi Squad, and the newcomers, the Rollips. There's the Violet Vermin right there, lane 2. But meanwhile, Coastline Crescents get out to a good start, but then here come the Rollips then, lane 4. They will advance alongside the Violet Vermin. Sushi Squad and Coastline Crescents will not in the water slide sprint. It's very simple, it's just like any other regular sprint, but this time the surface has been sprinkled with a little bit of water just to give these teams a bit of an extra challenge. And it will be the Rollips and the Violet Vermin that will advance. Top 2 will advance and bottom 2 will move on to the placement race. Heat 2 now with the Disco Neons, Clockwork, Sailors, and Team Whiteout. And they're off. Disco Neons, they're off to a good start already. Look at that gap already there. And they will advance. The Sailors managed to come home in second, just edging out the Clockworks there. But look at that boost there from Blue Neon of the Disco Neons there, lane 1. Talk about domination in Heat 2. Disco Neons will advance with the Sailors. Let's move on then to the placement race with the Crescent, Sushi Squad, Clockworks, and Team Whiteout. But these 4 are guaranteed to be the bottom half finishers there, who will finish ahead. It seems to be the Coastline Crescents then, and they will do it. Team Whiteout will come through in 6th, and that's the Sushi Squad in 7th with the Clockworks in 8th. But that was a good run there, again from lane 1, but this time from the Coastline Crescents. They will finish in 5th. Talk about damage limitation there. But let's move on then to the final of Group A with the Rollips, Violet Vermin, Disco Neons, and the Sailors. And they're off. With a good start there for the Rollips. Once again, Sailors, lane 4 there. That's very close. But I think the Rollips might have just done it there. By mere inches ahead of the Sailors there, the Rollips will win event 1. Talk about an upstaging by the rookie team of all things. Violet Vermin will come home in 3rd, and the Disco Neons, their Blue Neon, after such a dominating performance there in the heats, they will only finish in 4th. But it will be then the Rollips with the best start possible to win the first event. Sailors, Violet Vermin, Disco Neons, Coastline Crescents, Team Whiteout, Sushi Squad, and the Clockworks then. And in the overall standings for the qualifiers, the Rollips and Violet Vermin tied on points. The Violet Vermin have that boost of points. Sailors in 3rd and Disco Neons in 4th. As we move on then to Group B, also nicknamed the Group of Death. Cyber Crew, Team Echo, Peculiar Peaks, and the Cue Balls. One of the reasons as to why it's called the Group of Death, it has Team Echo, it has the Cue Balls, it has the Golf Birds, Peculiar Peaks there, Poison Darts, and I think it will be, and yeah, it will be Peculiar Peaks at advance alongside Team Echo there, who won the heat. Not bad then from Team Echo. Peculiar Peaks, remember, had a shocker of a qualifier last season, so it's important for them to get a good qualifier. Let's move on then to Heat 2 with the Grim Roses, Golf Birds, Shakaran, and Poison Darts. They're rolling now. It's a good start there for those 2 rookie teams. They're lanes 1 and 3, and huge distance over the other 2. And it will be the Grim Roses just ahead of the Shakaran there, but leaving the other 2 in the dust, or, well, should I say in the splash zone? I'm not quite sure there. But it will be then Thorn of the Grim Roses that wins alongside Current of the Shakaran in 2nd. Placement race now, Cyber Crew, Cue Balls, Golf Birds, and Poison Darts. They're rolling down now. And it's a good recovery there for Temple of the Cue Balls there. And they will finish in 5th. Cyber Crew just ahead, just behind in 6th. And it will be the Golf Birds and Poison Darts there. Remember, 2 teams that were very decent back in Season 1. In Season 2, of course, the Golf Birds finish in 5th. But this time, it's only 7th for the Golf Birds. Let's move on to the final then with Team Echo, Peculiar Peaks, Grim Roses, and the Shakaran there. And they're off. And look at that advancement there from the Grim Roses. Lane 3 there. And that's an easy win there from the Grim Roses. Shakaran will come home in 2nd. And it's the Peculiar Peaks in 3rd. Team Echo there. Once again, the winner of the first heat does not do any better than 4th. But again, it's another rookie team that wins in the first event. Shakuran will be in second. Peculiar Peaks there. A good start for third with Team Echo in fourth. Cubal's just behind in fifth. Cyber Crew, Golfbirds, and the Poison Darts. And of course, there's no points bonuses in this group, so everybody stays as they are for this. After this first event, let's move on then to Group C with the Atomics, Kitsune Rush, Hammerheads, and the Pyre Prowlers. They're rolling down now. And it's a good start there for the Hammerheads. But no, look at that. Pyre Prowlers and Kitsune Rush there. And they will do it. Easy as that there for the Pyre Prowlers. Big margin over the Kitsune Rush in second. They were actually behind, but then had that late surge of speed to finish ahead of the Kitsune Rush. They will win the heat with them in second. Atomics and Hammerheads will miss out. Heat 2 now with the Bubblegum Ballers, Team Virtuoso, Flaming Cherries, and the Royal Jesters. And we're off. And it's a good start from Bubblegum Ballers there, and they're already way far ahead there. But it's going to be a photo finish then for second, as the Jesters and the Flaming Cherries there, very, very close to one another. Let's watch the replay again now. Bubblegum Ballers, easiest answer there. I think it might be the Royal Jesters in second. We will have to see the photo finish for that. And look at that, it is! Jester advances, Garnet does not. Not bad then from the Royal Jesters. They will be in the final. Alongside, of course, the Bubblegum Ballers. Let's move on then to the placements. Atomics, Hammerheads, Flaming Cherries, and Team Virtuoso. And they're off. It's a good start for the Atomics there. But here come the Hammerheads. Oh, very close between these three here. And it's actually super close then between these three. You have to check the replay for that. I think it might just marginally be the Hammerheads there. With Team Virtuoso in second, I'm not quite sure. Flaming Cherries, meanwhile, they will finish in last. And it is the Hammerheads and Team Virtuoso. They will finish 5th and 6th. Atomics just behind in 7th. And it will be the Flaming Cherries in 8th. Let's move on then to the final of the Water Slide Sprint. They're off. And Pyre Prowlers there. And Bubblegum Ballers. And it will be the Bubblegum Ballers. Nice job there from Bubble to win the first event. That makes 3 new teams as the winners of the first event for all 3 groups. But it will be second then for the Pyre Prowlers and third for Kitsune Rush. Not bad from these 3, as the reserve Fiery will finish in second, Inari in third, and Jester comes home in 4th. And it will be the Hammerheads, Team Virtuoso, Atomics, and Flaming Cherries. But well done then to the Bubblegum Ballers for winning the first event. Let's move on then to the second event of the qualifiers. And it is, of course, block pushing. Much like last season, in block pushing, we only have 2 runs each. And they will be calculated as a total, not an average, not the best of, but we'll get as a total. As the Sushi Squad, meanwhile, get up to 70. Not bad from the Sushi Squad there. Meanwhile, everybody else behind that 60 area, with the Cosine Crescents marginally in second, but it was a good run then from the Sushi Squad, who had a very brilliant strategy of having 1 marble in front and the other 3 further back to give them that extra push when it came time to push the block. And it will be then the Sushi Squad with a 70. Second, it's the Cosine Crescents with the 60. Run 2 now, same 4 teams, just switched around in terms of lanes with the Clockworks in lane 1. And will be a decent one again from the Sushi Squad. They definitely win that out of the 4 and will be in first. Cosine Crescents there around that 57.5 area alongside the Rollers. Clockworks, a very poor run for the team in last. So we will have to wait and see what the other 4 teams do. But in the meantime, the Sushi Squad take the lead with 135.5 with the Cosine Crescents in second. Move on then to run 3 with the Vermin, Satyrs, Disco Neons, and Team Whiteout. And it's a good run there for the Violet Vermin. Not bad. A 65 there for the Violet Vermin. Team Whiteout just marginally ahead in the 60 area. Disco Neons and the Satyrs there around that 55. But it was a good run then from the Violet Vermin, who had a wonderful strategy. Of course, the Violet Vermin won block pushing in the minor league, so it's no surprise to see them up here. Team Whiteout, of course, won block pushing in the main league, so also no surprises. Let's move on then to the last run of this event in Group A. Let's see if the Violet Vermin can upstage the Sushi Squad or if any of the other teams can. It doesn't seem like it, but it's a decent run there from the Disco Neons. Everybody kind of the same-ish in terms of runs. Disco Neons just marginally ahead in that 60 area. Sailors right behind them as well. But of course the Sailors also had a poorer run in the first heat. And it will be then the Vermin in second with the Disco Neons in third, Team Wild in fourth, and the Sailors only in sixth. But it means that the Sushi Squad will win this event. Not bad then from the Sushi Squad. Let's check then the overall standings for the qualifiers, and the VALVIK Vermin move up ahead. Disco Neons in second, Sushi Squad and the Rollives tied on third with the Sailors right behind in fifth. Let's move on then to Group B. We've got the Cue Balls, Grim Roses, Shakaran, and Team Echo. And it's not a bad run from all for these four teams. Cue Balls there and the Grim Roses. Similar runs in the 65 area. I thought the Shakaran might have had a good run, but it's not looking like it so far. Team Echo, not all that good in block pushing, so for them, this is more damage imitation than anything. But it will be then a 65 for both the Cue Balls and the Grim Roses there. It will be determined though in run 2 to see which one will be ahead. And that's a good run there from Shakaran, almost at the 65. Cue Balls there, past the 60. Grim Roses, what a disaster there for the Grim Roses. They are below the 50 after such a good first run. They seem to have lost energy or something, but they are down around that 48 area. But we then the Cue Balls with a 126. They will take the lead for now. Shakaran, Grim Roses, and Team Echo. So come on then to the last set of teams in Group B. See what they can do. And it's not a bad run there from the Peculiar Peaks. Lane 2 there. Not bad there from the Peculiar Peaks. Past the 70. Almost at the 75 mark. That is not a bad run. This team is on another level so far in the qualifiers. But meanwhile then, the Golfbirds do almost get past the 60. Cyber Crew in that 50 area. And meanwhile the Poison Darts down in the 35. That is a disaster there for the Poison Darts. Move on then to the last run of Group B. Can the Peaks do it? That's a decent run from all four of these teams. Peculiar Peaks once again marginally ahead of the Cyber Crew in second. But I think it will be then the Peculiar Peaks that win in block pushing. Let's check the replay now. And yeah, once again, it was the Golfbirds in last, below that 50 area. Poison Darts a little bit better, but they were hurt by that first run. And they cannot do better than 8th. But meanwhile, it's the Peaks that win in block pushing. Golfbirds come in 4th, Cyber Crew come in 6th, and Team Echo in 8th. But it's the Cue Balls in 2nd, and Shakaran up to 3rd. And let's check then the overall standings for Group B. And it will be the Peaks in 1st, Shakaran, Grim Roses, and the Cue Balls that run out of the top 4. With a gap of 4 points with the Golfbirds in 5th. Let's move on then to Group C. Hammerheads, Jesters, Bubblegum Ballers, and the Atomics. And they're off. And oh, what happened there to the Atomics? But meanwhile, it's a good run there for the Royal Jesters. Once again, teams in the second lane just seem to do very, very well there. But meanwhile, what happened to the Atomics there? The block just went down without them. And you can see why. Those two marbles at the front there were closely held together there. You don't want that to happen in block pushing. Meanwhile though, Bubblegum Ballers only at 55, but it will be then the Jesters with a 66. Run 2 now. And it's a good run there for the Bubblegum Ballers there. And the Royal Jesters, third best of the 4 so far. Atomics, once again, a poor run. Only at 55. Less than 55, should I say. But meanwhile, for the Bubblegum Ballers, that is a decent run. Above the 60 there. Above the 65, should I say. And it will be that the Jesters in 1st. Bubblegum Ballers 5 points behind. Hammerheads and the Atomics in 4th. So we'll move on to the last set of runs for block pushing. And it's a very similar runs there from all 4 of these teams. Flaming Cherry is marginally ahead in that 60 area. Nothing too spectacular from either of these teams though. Katsuna Rush, worst? No, sorry, it's Team Virtuoso, the worst of the 4. Virtuoso will have a 55, but it's the Flaming Cherries with a 59-point half. They can't even get to the 60. Move on then to the last run of the day for block pushing. And a decent run there from Team Virtuoso, but everybody else in that 55 area. Team Virtuoso almost at the 65 there, but meanwhile, nobody else had any better runs than their last attempt. And I don't think they will upstage the Royal Jesters. But let's take a look at the replay there for Team Virtuoso. They had a decent run this time, but their first one was not as good. So I'm not expecting anything good from them. And it's only fourth, which means the Royal Jesters will do it. They will win in block pushing for Group C. And it will be the Ballers in second, Hammerheads in third, and Team Virtuoso. Flaming Cherries, Atomics, Kitsune Rush, and Pyre Prowlers round out the top 8. And in the overall standings then, it's still the Ballers in first, Royal Jesters move up to second with the Hammerheads in third, and Pyre Prowlers tying on points with Kitsune Rush in fourth. Ahead on medal countback. As we move on then to the third event, Team Pursuit, of course. New event for a lot of these teams. The objective is very simple in Team Pursuit. That third marble you see there for each team, they have to finish ahead of the other, as the time that's being counted now on screen will be applied to those marbles. But meanwhile, it's a better run there from the Coastline Crescents on the right hand side. VALVIK there, that third marble is the one that matters, and Hazard there, that's the third marble there. They were lagging behind their teammates there, and you see at the photo finish there, that third marble from the Crescents finished ahead of the second marble of the VALVIK, and will be a 10:08 for the Vermin, 9:59 from the Coastline Crescents, slower than what we've seen from the winning runs of the friendly round. Of course, Clockworks there on the right have experience with the friendly round, with the Team Pursuit having had it in the friendly round before teams like the Disco Neons. Let's see where they will finish compared to these two, and they're just about even. Marginally ahead there are the Clockworks. Let's see what Disco Neons can do. Of course, these teams are not only competing with each other head to head, but also with everybody else at the same time, at least in the group here. So these times matter. And for the Clockworks, it will be only a 10.04. That's slower than the Coastline Crescents there. Disco Neons just behind in third. Move on then to run 3 with the Sushi Squad and Team Whiteout. Sushi Squad, they're a lot more closely held together there. That third marble, remember, that third marble matters. Let's see where they will finish. And marginally, massively ahead there will be the Sushi Squad. Team Whiteout had some difficulties alongside that course. Look at that, that third marble was lagging behind massively. In the event of a tie break, the tie will be determined by how close that third marble is to their teammates there. But it will be an easy win there for the Sushi Squad. Let's see where they will finish. And they take the lead with a 9:58. Team Whiteout in 5th. Move on then to the final run. It's the Rollips and the Sailors. A lot of speed there from the Rollips. Sailors closely here together, but they're massively behind there. Let's see who finishes first, and it will be the Sailors. Massive gap there to the Rollips. The Sailors with a last dash to the finish. Look at that third level pushing their teammates along. That's Captain Port, by the way, and a good finish. Let's see what gets them. Let's see what time this gives them. Massively ahead of the Rollips there. Let's see where they finish. And it will be first for the Sailors with a 9.51. The Sailors will win in Team Pursuit. Rollips down to 8th. So then will be the Sailors in first, Sushi Squad, Coastline Crescents, and the Clockworks in 4th. But let's see then those crucial overall standings in the qualifiers. And it's already too late for the Clockworks. They will not qualify for the VALVIK Marble League. As in the front, it will be the Sailors in first, Sushi Squad, VALVIK, and the Disco Neons. Coastline Crescents 1 point behind. This is very crucial going into the final event. Let's move on then into Group B with the Poison Darts and the Grim Roses. Grim Roses, of course, come in as the winners of the friendly round from the new teams. But of course, not the best in Team Pursuit. So let's see how they stack up compared to the Poison Darts. And at the finish there, it will be the Poison Darts ahead of the Grim Roses. So they cannot finish first for the Grim Roses. And the times are, photo finish first. And the times are a 9:59 for the Poison Darts, a 10:04 for the Grim Roses. Massive gaps there. Let's move on then to run 2 with the Shotgun and the Peculiar Peaks. Pretty even Steven so far. Going into the last of these few turns here. Marginally ahead there are the Shotgun and a big finish ahead of the Peculiar Peaks there. You don't even need a photo finish for that. The Shotgun a lot more composed than the Peaks were, especially out at those last few turns there. Remember, it doesn't really necessarily matter where you finish. What matters is how well you get to the end. And it will be then the Shotgun in second with a 10:01, Peculiar Peaks in fourth with a 10:15. Run 3 now with the Saber Crew and the Cue Balls. Out of the two, let's see which one finishes ahead. And marginally, I think it's the Cue Balls there. Let's see how they stack up with the Cyber Crew at the finish line. Nothing too spectacular from either of these teams here, so I'm not expecting any massive scores from either of these. Yeah, marginally ahead there were the Cue Balls, I think by a decimal or two. And yeah, look at that. Cue Balls come in third, Cyber Crew up to fourth. As we get to the last round of Group B, it's Team Echo and the Golfbirds. These two teams both struggling right now in the standings. They need some good results if they want to qualify. But they're moving very fast through these turns here. It's looking very good. Marginally ahead of the Golfbirds there. It's looking very good though for both of these teams here. But wow, that was very close actually between both the Golfbirds and Team Echo there. Yeah, look at that finish line. That was very, very close between these two. At the final finish, yeah, marginally ahead there are the Golfbirds. But let's see where they stack up. And the Golfbirds will do it with a 9:52. Team Echo come in second with a 9:53. Not bad then from both of these teams. They move up to first. Poison Darts will take third. Shotgun in fourth. But crucially now, let's see the standings for Group B going into the last event. And the Shotgun move up to first, and 4 teams, look at that, 4 teams, all divided by 1, all separated by no points. They're all in a tie, as meanwhile, the Poison Darts and Cyber Crew cannot qualify. It's all coming down to one event for Group B, as we move on then to Group C, with the Ballers and Team Virtuoso. Team Ballers there a lot more further away. Team Virtuoso a lot more composed there. But I think at the finish there, it will be marginally the Bubblegum Ballers ahead of Team Virtuoso. We have to check the photo finish for that. But I think it might be the Bubblegum Ballers. For once again, at the back half of the course, they get that speed to finish ahead of Team Virtuoso. Team Virtuoso at the end there faltered a little bit. And they will finish ahead by 1 millisecond. Run 2 now with Kitsune Rush and the Flaming Cherries. It's looking a lot better for the Flaming Cherries, but oh, the Thermal makes a mistake there, and they will finish behind the Kitsune Rush. Massive mistake there from that third model of the Flaming Cherries. They stop in the middle of the track. Look at that turn there. They stop in the middle of the track, and they're trying to catch up to their teammates, but they cannot do it. That is a disaster there from the Flaming Cherries, who are sitting last right now, or second to last, in the standings for Group C. But it will be then the Kitsune Rush that take the lead, 9-2. Flaming Cherries last right now with a 10:05. Run 3 now with the Power Prowlers and the Atomics there. And very similar run so far. Power Prowlers just visually ahead. No, it's the Atomics there, going to the finish line now. And it's too close to call. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. At the finish there, it's so close to call. I think the Atomics are marginally ahead there. We have to see that photo finish. It's very hard to tell there. We have to go in a tie break. I'm not sure. And we do. And the Atomics take the lead with a 9:51. Power Prowlers, same score, but crucially, they're behind because their marbles were a lot more loose than the Atomics, who were more closely held together as we move on to the last run of Group C with the Jesters and the Hammerheads. They're already, the Hammerheads are having issues. Jesters at the same time then, and I think ahead will be marginally the Royal Jesters. We have to check the replay there. But once again, that third marble lagging behind their teammates there. I think at the finish, yeah, it was the Royal Jesters without a shadow of doubt. Yeah, Joker just marginally ahead of Great there. But it's only a 6th for the Royal Jesters. Hammerheads only in 7th. But it will be then the Atomics that win in Team Pursuit. Pirate Prowlers coming home in 2nd. Kitsune Rush in 3rd. And the Bubblegum Ballers in 4th. But let's see then the overall standings. And the Bubblegum Ballers have qualified for the VALVIK Marble League. They are safe. Flaming Cherries, however, they will not qualify. But everybody else separated by 5 points. So it's still out to play for. And Group C has moved on then to the final event with Funnel Endurance. There's no more heats, no more eliminations. This is it. It's a one and done. Remember, Funnel Endurance, the objective is to not finish last. And this time we have a different course compared to what we had in previous runnings of this event. This time, rather than having all types of funnels sectioned off in separate sections, this time they're going to be randomly spread out throughout the course. So we're having faster funnels, slower funnels, wider funnels as the course goes on. But meanwhile then, it is somewhat the clockworks. No, it's the coastline crescents there. The coastline crescents marginally on the in the bottom half there. They are 1 point away from the Disco Neons in 4th. They need to finish ahead if they want to qualify here. But meanwhile there, it's very closely all together between the Sushi Squad and Disco Neons. As I said, Red Neon. Remember, Red Neon there had a good performance in the minor league Funnel Endurance. So let's see where this could take them. And meanwhile then, for Team Whiteout, it's rookie member Blanco that's debuting today for Team Whiteout. Team Whiteout, of course, had a change in coach at the beginning of the season. As I say that, the Coastline Crescent's now down to last. As we approach the final set of funnels here, it's the Clockworks with the Vermin and Team Whiteout. Sailors also there. Sailors, of course, with their Captain Port. They are winners in Season 1 of the Funnel Endurance. Let's see if they can recapture some of that magic here. As the Sushi Squad in those penultimate funnels here. Roll lives there as well. As the Violet Vermin enters the funnel now. It's the Clockworks now in the lead. The Clockworks, they cannot qualify, but they can still get a good result here if they need to. As we approach and we get to see the stadium now, it's the Coastline Crescents there. Coastline Crescents going to these small funnels now, but they're managing to just hang on as Team Whiteout. No, it is the Crescents there. And the Clockworks, they went all the way down to around 6th, and now they're dropping even harder now as we enter the last funnel. We'll finish in first. The Violet Vermin are there as well. And will they finish in last? And they do! And the Coastline Crescents are in 7th. I do not think they can qualify. Clockworks in 6th. It's Team Whiteout. No, it's the Sushi Squad. Blanco still hanging on there. As meanwhile, here come the top 4. We'll finish in 4th there. Will it be the Disco Neons? I don't think so. No, it's the Rollives. And now Team Whiteout come in 3rd with the Sailors. And the Disco Neons will win in the Funnel Endurance. Red Neon will guarantee that the Disco Neons qualify for the VALVIK Marble League. Sailors come through in 2nd. They're safe. Team Whiteout in 3rd. With the Violet Vermin in last, it will be crucial to see how that shakes out. We'll have to see the overall standings. But the Coastline Crescents are eliminated. They cannot go any further. They needed to beat the Disco Neons. They could not do it and are therefore out of the qualifiers. Rollives and Clockworks, I'm not sure. We'll have to see the results. But it is then the Disco Neons that qualify, that win the Funnel Endurance. The Sailors in 2nd, Team Whiteout then in 3rd. And let's check the overall standings then and who qualifies in Group A. And we'll be then the Sailors, Disco Neon, Sushi Squad, and by 1 point the Violet Vermin will do it over Team Whiteout. Massively helped out then by that point boost. They qualify for Team Whiteout, the Crescents, Coastline Crescents, and the Clockworks. They will have to compete in the minor league. Let's move on then to Group B, and this one is a big one because we've got four teams tied on 15 points. One of them will not advance unless the Shock Current will mess up. But from what we've seen from them so far, it's not looking like it. As the Cyber Crew enters the first funnel, last right now. And no, it's the Peculiar Peaks. Look at that, the Peculiar Peaks then. But also 11 ball of the cue balls there. Everybody held very closely together here. Group B has been super competitive so far. So it's no surprise to see such a close and tight battle. Even if one of these teams failed to qualify, they have put on a very good fight, as so far, all but one managed to get a medal so far. Of course, Cybercrew being the only one that has not been able to do so, but it's of course still not too late. As Team Echo then, meanwhile, Renew, winners of the Final Endurance in Season 2, they're having some issues here. They're managing to kind of recover somewhat, as meanwhile in the lead, it's the Cue Balls with the Grim Roses, just about. As the Grim Roses now, as I say that, they go down to last now, and they drop to the finals here like a rock almost. Spine having a lot of difficulties here, as the Cybercrew join them in that funnel there. Meanwhile, it's still the Cue Balls, they're managing to hang on, 11 ball. As Shakaran now enter, remember, Shakaran is not safe either, despite being the leaders right now. If they mess up, and if the other four behind them have good results, the Shakaran could well be out of the qualifiers. As the Cue Balls now, as we enter now the back half of this course, we have 2 sets of small funnels after this large funnel here, followed by one last big funnel. As the Cue Balls now enter in last, it's the Poison Darts alongside them. This is the only group that's had 2 eliminations from the 3rd event, which says a lot about just how competitive it was. As we see now the last funnel jumping into view, it's still the Shakaran in first. Let's see who will finish now. Peculiarpeaks now in the last funnel here. This could be a dangerous thing for them, as the Poison Darts are there. But the Cue Balls, oh, massive mistake there from the Cue Balls, and they will finish in last, and they're out! Cue Balls, the champions of Season 1, will not qualify for the VALVIK Marble League, as the Grim Roses, Golfbirds, Peculiarpeaks, Shakaran, Poison Darts, Cybercrew, and Team Echo, Ravenel will do it once again in the funnels! And they're safe. I think they've qualified. Team Echo rescued there by their star athlete, Renew. But it was a disaster there from the Cue Balls. As the Peculiarpeaks, they entered first. Look at the Cue Balls go through these funnels super quickly here and mess up massively. And in their first tenure as captain, 11 ball messes up at the worst possible moment. The Grim Roses, all of their teams that were tied with them will not move on. I don't think the Grim Roses move on either, as Team Echo, they were 1 point behind that cluster of teams. But let's see how this result affects the standings. I think it's going to be a massive. And look at, Cybercrew got a medal. And I think that makes everybody in Group B a medalist. But let's see then the standings. And it's Shakaran, Team Echo, Peculiarpeaks, and the Golfbirds. Just by 1 point, the Grim Roses miss out. Cue Balls, Cybercrew, and Poison Darts will not be there either. But talk about domination from the rookie Shakaran, beating everybody else, and they are qualified. The first team of Season 3 to qualify. Move on then to Group C. Final event of the day with the Flaming Cherries, Hammerheads, Sea Virtuals, Atomics, Kitsune Rush, Power Pros, Board Jesters, and Bubblegum Ballers, who have already qualified, of course. This is also a big one from these teams, as they're all but one are separated by 5 points each. So if one of them messes up, this could be a big opportunity for the others to seize the opportunity here. Of course, the Bubblegum Ballers are safe, so they don't have to worry about it all that much, but they can still get a good result. As meanwhile, it's the Royal Jesters Holocan. After a poor performance in the friendly round, the Royal Jesters seem to have found the performance they so desperately needed, and they now have a good chance of qualifying for the main league, which would be a great accomplishment from this team. Of course, they come from Joker's Marble League, were not able to qualify in that competition, and have moved on. Well, they are now competing in 2 leagues at the same time, the VALVIK Marble League being, of course, one of them. As meanwhile, as I said, the Royal Jesters with Harlequin, they are now in first. As meanwhile, everybody else, a big divide there between these top 3 here and everybody else. As everybody else now, look at Team Virtuoso and the Atomics there. Remember, the Atomics is also a very important event as well, because they could well be missing out if they don't get a move on here. As meanwhile, we can't even see the top 2 anymore. They're so far ahead. Look at, we can just barely see a small bit of them now. As the Flaming Cherries there, they entered one of the last funnels now. And oh, look at the Atomics there. The Nucleus managed to just hang on there, and they're now in a net second position as we enter into the last part of the course here. It's T-Virtuoso with the Power Prowlers, Hammerheads, and the Flaming Cherries, and the Kitsune Rush there. These 5 are massively separated by the top 3. I don't think they can challenge them so far, as the Flaming Cherries into the last funnel now. Will finish in last then. Will it be the Kitsune Rush? Will it be the Pyre Prowlers? We have to see now, and it is the Pyre Prowlers. Kitsune Rush come in 7th, and it's the Flaming Cherries, Hammerheads, and Team Virtuoso. Has a massive gap there for these 3. But let's see which one of them wins. Rail Jesters come through now. With the Bubblegum Ballers right there. Atomics now enter in the last funnel, but they managed to avoid the Royal Jesters there. And the Bubblegum Ballers now enter as well. Will be the Jesters in 3rd. And the Ballers in 2nd. The Atomics will do it! Nucleus goes back-to-back in medals. At the best possible timing for the Atomics. They, I think, have qualified alongside the Bubblegum Ballers. We have to see now those other 2. But a great performance there from the Atomics. Not bad. Of course, these 3 massively divided then by everybody else. And look at that. By the time these got here, the other 5 were long done. As the Jesters enter now. And then the Bubblegum Ballers. So it will be then, for the finish, the Atomics in 1st, Bubblegum Ballers, Royal Jesters, and Team Virtuoso in 4th. But we have to see now how the overall standings are shaken up by this event. And it's the Bubblegum Ballers, Jesters, Atomics, and Team Virtuoso by 1 point. They beat both the Pyre Prowlers and the Kitsune Rush. Team Virtuoso, what? Talk about an upset. They were nowhere this entire qualifiers and have now done it.
Congratulations to the winners of the qualifiers, Sailors, Shakarant, and the Bubblegum Ballers.
Well done then to the winners of the qualifiers, but also here they are then, the teams that will compete in the VALVIK Marble League in Season 3. We wish them the best of luck. For a quick recap, it's the Balls of Zen, Carbon, Sky Scouts, Superiors, Bubblegum Ballers, Sailors, Disco Neons, Shakara, Team Echo, Royal Jesters, Atomics, Sushi Squad, Peculiar Peaks, Golf Birds, Valverman, and Team Virtuoso. But coming up next in the VALVIK Marble League, it's the friendly round, where those first 4 teams will compete in the same events as the qualifiers. We hope to see you there. Goodbye and have a nice rest of the day.